Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome. Today I got Star Toys Blitzwing. This is the 2024 reissue where they actually have tan for all the tank stuff. It's actually tan now instead of that weird grayish color that he had. And he looks a lot better. There are, as far as I know, no mold changes, so it's just the color difference. But and I wasn't even going to do a video on this guy, but with the Fan Toys Berserk finally announced for pre-order, I thought, you know what, I'm gonna do a video now that since I got the improved color version. So here he is. He comes packaged in robot mode, and you don't get much with him. He is simple. You've got his blaster, which is just a cast purple plastic, and since they went for Hypertune, not a lot of detail. I think it looks great. But again, I like the Hypertune. Not everybody does. And then here is the sword with a touch of yellow paint right in the middle. Otherwise, looks very good. And of course, he can hold them both very, very well. The regular tab and slot connection. And I mean, that just the tab right there. I moved a ratchet before it fell out. And then same for the blaster. So very good connection. And of course, yeah, fingers can wrap around and they look good. And then the only other accessory you get from him is a single additional face. Here it is, the mouth slightly open. The face. And then his normal one that comes installed. You can see it's just a straight face. The purple, all of the purple, except for a couple of small accent bits, and pretty much all the tan is molded, from what I can tell. Or if it is painted, it is a very light coat of paint. So, but he has the yellow, the red, and the gray. That's all painted. This, the red, yellow, red, the darker, like grayish purple, those are all painted. But then you've got this gray. That at least looks like it is just molded. It's honestly very hard to tell, but I'm 90% sure that's just the molded color for that and the purple, and then of course the gray, the tan. You got some accents on the wingtips here. The tank treads are painted gray, so those are all paint. You got little missiles in there, those are molded colors. So I mean, he's partially painted. And I'll elaborate a little bit more in my final thoughts, but I just think that's probably one of the only advantages Fan Toys will have over this guy. He does have some die cast in the feet. He's got some good weight to him. He's not as heavy as, say, like the Fan Toys Astro Train, because he is mostly plastic, but he feels good. He's got some decent weight to him. He is very well built. The only issue whatsoever that I have is the ankle. The way that they chose to have the pivot here, like, it moves perfectly fine. And it's a pin, but it's nice and strong and tight. But it's just that because they chose to put it there, when you put him down, you really got to plant his toes and feet. Otherwise, he'll have a tendency to do that number where he kind of collapses in, and it's just odd. Plenty of other Masterpiece figures have done the exact same thing, and they all have the exact same problem, where the weight, depending on your pose, will cause his feet to kind of collapse a little bit. And he still stands fine, but it just looks weird when it's on a flat surface and you can see a gap. So, anywho, articulation here. His head's on a ball joint, but you've got this joint, which is so you can swap the face. You just pop it right off. Just held on by the tab and the two pegs for the eyes. But still, because of that, you can look straight up. Without that, that's as far as you go. That's down, and then you get some side to side. For the shoulders, very strong ratchets. You'll get up to there because of the shoulder pieces, and you won't get back very far because of the wings. Like, really, the normal position is about as far back as you're getting. You'll get out to there on friction. You got a cut joint there for the swivel. A double jointed elbow all the way up to there. Wrist rotation. You've got a little bit of out, a little bit of in. The fingers are all individually articulated. The thumb has a ball joint with 2 pins, and the fingers have 2 pins each, and they are all completely separate. So you can have them doing pretty much, whatever you want them to do, right? Then you've got a very nice ab crunch. Gets you down to there, and actually it's a little bit of an extra joint. You could use it to just raise him up if you really wanted to. I don't know why. He doesn't need that for transformation, but it's there, You do have waist rotate, but the backpack does have it hindered. You've got the single front hip skirt and then the individual for the sides. So ratcheted, it'll go all the way out to there, back to there, and ratchet holds out. And these are decent ratchets. I mean, they're softer, but they do hold themselves up. A little bit of light jiggle here instead of actually trying to overpower them. Anywho, then you've got cut joint there for the thigh, double jointed knee on a ratchet. The lower joint will get you there, but if you engage the upper joint, you'll get far past 90. And both of those are ratcheted. Then I already showed you the ankle tilt. You also have a toe tilt, which will rotate 360 thanks to transformation. The toe will go up, won't go down, and the heel won't go up, but it will go down. It does have like a thoop though, just because of transformation. So you go down, you unlock it. There we go. And then if you don't like the look of the wings, you can just bring them in. But the wings are animation accurate. So that is why mine, they are out and locked. And is there anything else? Nope, I don't think I'm forgetting anything. The cannon can kind of do a little wiggle waggle just because of it's a cannon. So there we go for his articulation, and let's do a couple size comparisons. So according to the Sunbow chart, he should be the same size as Megatron, and we can see that head to head, yeah, they're pretty much the same. And yes, Megatron is holding himself. So there you go. That is the MP36 knockoff Megatron that I have. And then he should be a little bit taller than Astro Train. Here's Fan Toys Astro Train, and you can see that, yes, he is just a hair taller. It is so close, but he is taller. So, there you go. And real quick before I go any further, there is no weapon storage in his robot or either of his vehicle modes. Poor design choice, I know, but is what it is. Thankfully, to me, that's not a deal breaker, but it is for somebody, so that's why I mention it. Now, let's get down to transformation. We'll go into his jet mode first, and then we'll go into his tank mode. And going, yeah, I'll talk about it when I'm ready for the tank mode. Anyway, first things, let's ball up his fists. There we go. Bring the thumbs down, curl up the fingers at both joints. There we go. Then you'll open this panel, just fold it out, and then fold the fists in. And this should be sitting flush, and that sits there. And that is the only bit of transformation that these arms will get for all three modes, other than just some rotating. So, that's done. Now we're going to undo this backpack. We'll get these out of the way, slide these out, bring those down, and just peel that apart. And then this has these little tabs that snap into this. I'll go ahead and fold the cannon up into the turret. And that's it for that for now. It'll be like the last thing that we get to. Bring these out. These are on sliders. I'll just slide them out. Right now I'm just exploding things and getting things kind of out of the way so that the rest of the way it's as easy as possible. Part of this is also just because I'm making the video for it. If I was doing it myself, I wouldn't really worry too much about it, because there's not, some things are in the way and some things are not. So this tab, you just want to bring that in and up. It doesn't really lock per se on, but it kind of does. It's got a very small little piece that sticks back that kind of hooks into it. But you want to bring it out, rotate it, and you want it sitting like this on both sides. So the armature is the only thing in your way, and the treads are as out of the way as possible, because now we're going to flip up these two panels, and you want to rotate the arm around. And you're going to have to rotate the ratchet joint as you go around for clearance. So we're going to start with it 90 out, go around. You don't need much, just like a click or two of rotation as you get around it. And even then, you can just force it right past if you really want to, like that. I just don't like putting flex on things if I don't have to. So, we've got the arms around back. Now the arms are going to get another 90 degrees at that rotation. This is a very strong ratchet. So I grab it as close to that ratchet joint as possible, because this is a mushroom peg. That is a screwed in connection. And yeah, that's the one gripe I have. Well, not the only, it's the main gripe I have, is the shoulders are too strong, and then the ankles, they could use like a thoop or a soft ratchet. So there's that. We're going to go ahead and rotate this just for now, just so it's out of the way, kind of. And, we'll come back to that. But for now, so right. Now we're going to go ahead and work on his legs. We're going to leave that mess, and I will come back to it. So since we're going to jet mode, we'll leave those out. Going to come around the back here. These panels, you just pull out and pull up. They have this tab that goes into that slot, so that's why you pull up, and that tab goes into that slot. That's the out, right? Then you'll come back here, fold the ankle in. Try and do this one-handed here. We'll rotate that out. Bring this panel, just bring it down for now. This folds out, and then this will get rotated and then folded out. There's one thruster. This, you will just have it resting up like that, and then fold it in. We'll do the same on the other side before we finish the leg. So, out and up. Bring that out, do your rotate. Bring that down, rotate, bring it down, and there you go. Now, this piece, just pull that down to unlock the thigh. We do that on both sides. And then you can see it just accordions out. So you just up, over, down, put that panel back in. There we go. Panel back in. And go ahead and meet the legs. Leave these tan pieces open. That'll be the last thing we do because the turret will tab into those. So, at this point, we're going to move this. We're going to untab that. And is what it is the hip itself is going to rotate. But the easiest way to do it, rotate the body around, tab that in. Sorry, the legs. And then we'll rotate the body around. I still have things kind of in the way for that. Rotate these things. There we go. Good. And then when you're done with that, if you did it the way I did, just make sure your legs are still straight. Make sure the diaper is still locked in place. Don't get your thumb caught. Okay, it's trying to bite me. All right. So this is where we're at right now for the legs. And the legs are pretty much done until the last step when we attach the tank turret and we take care of the wings. So this is what we can do now. We're going to go ahead and pop these up. They just have a single tab and a slot right there in the chest. Now with these, you want to be careful. This is a riveted piece and the plastic arm just swings on it. I had one that was a little loose and I had to put some super glue on it. What is it? Loctite. I think it's like Ultra Gel or something is what I use, and I've had good luck with it on these so far. Because you've got the hinge right here for this purple piece, and it is going to kind of collide as you rotate it. And then we're going to rotate them out pretty much to here for right now. Well, there's a lot of opportunity to hit them and smack them and bend them, so just be careful with them. You're going to untab the head, because you can see tab and a slot. Bring this up, bring this out, bring this out, rotate that around. And now, I'm going to go ahead and open this up. And you see what I mean already? I'm going to move these. Got to be careful with them. And grab this and rotate it all up. Bring the canopy up. Bring the nose out. There we go. Bring the nose out, and it's just on a pin and a ball joint, so just rotate it. You'll want to bring the landing gear out now, otherwise you are going to fight. And then you can see these are on a double hinge. Just bring them up, bring them together, and bring the canopy down and tab that in. Now, bring the head, rotate it sideways, and tab it in. It's got a slot right there for that neck tab. And just tab it in. If you have the head sideways, then you can easily, there it is, get right in here and pull up the vent pieces for the jet. And now we're going to close it up. Now you're going to need to angle these back a little bit because you have a tab going into this slot. And that's also why we left this up, so that you, as you go in, you can use your fingers and push them out a little bit just until they mate with their connection. Oh, I missed him. You also have a tab and a slot right here on each side. Did forget to mention that. There we go. Make sure that's screws together. So there we go. There's the cab, the cockpit mostly done. We'll deal with these in a little bit. So we're going to take this and we're just going to fold it down. It's going to basically sit like that. It'll move on us a lot, and that's fine. We'll come back to that. There's one thing. One thing I forgot. My mistake, but it's okay. We can get it now. This gray piece, which has these wing pieces, that needs to go on the back side too. So make sure the turret's out of the way. You can just rotate like that. And then again, with the diapered section, rotate that. So you've got the diaper and the gray piece on the side of the back of the legs and the tan part of the cockpit. And then I engage that ab crunch a little, just make sure that is straightened out and down and flush. You do not want that extended for the vehicle modes. So now we're going to clean this wing up quite a bit. So first we're going to slide it in on both sides. There we go. All right. Make sure that the arm is sitting parallel to the wing. Here, I'm going to move these out of the way now because I feel uneasy about it. You just rotate them around and they sit like that on both sides. And they should be fully out of our way, leaving them like that. This is going to keep flopping around though. It is what it is. All right, so you'll get that all flush. Now you have this little piece on the tank treads. It's going to come out and it's going to go into this square tab. But you also have this slider joint with a double hinge. So what you want to do, you're going to bend this small joint so it's sitting at a 90-degree angle to this. You're going to fold this over on the treads and keep it so that it's flush here. So the treads are out on that slider. And then you're just going to get that tab that I showed you lined up with that square peg. You might need to give this a small rotate and move things around. And this, rotate it so that panel is facing down. And there you go. Just go get it in there. It's going to be a tight fit. There we go. Okay. Just wanted to fight, but get this up closer to the camera. You can see that gray tab I showed you that you had to rotate out is fully seated in here up to the little tabs that stick out on the side, which I'm going to guess are just so it doesn't go in too far. Then you'll bring this down and it'll just sit like that. See, it'll be lined up. This has a little slider on it. You just want it so that it's flush here, right? You don't do anything with this for jet mode. You do make sure this section of the tread, it should have been tabbed into this from the backpack. And in order for this whole thing to work, it needs to stay tabbed in. So, nice and tight. You'll take this and I guess it probably would have been easier to do it beforehand, but you're going to have this tab going into this slot, and then you'll have this slot for the tab right here on top of the treads. So just go ahead and get that lined up and then push the wing in so that it's good. There we go. All pushed together. This piece is angled down. That's one pretty much done. Now we're going to go ahead and mate it with the rest of the fuselage. So you have a giant slot here for this tab. You have this small tab, which is going to go into this small slot, and you notice the wing has that shape to it. That's for this bracket. So get this out of the way. Oh. Straight up. There we go. So go ahead and bring it down and just get it all lined up. And it should be looking like that. Right? Yes, there's a gap there, but the rest of it is tabbed in. When we go to the bottom side, same thing. Now, before I go any further, just to make sure, so you have this panel, it needs to be straight up and down. You see it's got a tab there that lines up. Well, because of that tab, the part of the shoulder, this whole area, it locks that into place. So if you have this folded down like this and then you go lock the wing on, you're not going to be able to move it. So when you go to lock that wing on, make sure it's up and down like this, at least the bottommost tab, right? The other thing, I had to fix this, the arm, I'm going to show you on the other one, but make sure it's rotated outward so you can see the fist on the outside of the aircraft. Again, I'll show you on that in just a second. Other than that, everything else is tabbed in, just like I showed you. This is fully flush, flat, and with that, we're ready to move on to the next wing, show you the same thing. So first and foremost, I'm going to fix this now. This is how you want the arm looking with the fist facing outwards. Go ahead and flip up this gray tab. Make sure this is out of the way. And then we'll get this down and fold it in. There we go. A lot easier that time. Bring this down, bring this in. You can go ahead and bring this all in. And before you tab it in, make sure that that is up and down as it should be. There. And then we'll get this tabbed in, this slid in, and there we go. And now the turret that's just been flopping around this whole time. You're gonna just bring it in. Right, you've got that all flattened out best you can, and then you've got a slot here for a tab here. You're just going to fold it, close it up, and the last thing to do that we haven't done yet, this. Now it's got two tabs and it's got slots inside of these, but you can still do it at this point if you didn't want to fight with it earlier, which I did not. I think it's so much easier to do it then. And the last thing, I'll go ahead and pull the landing gear out. There we go. Star Toys Blitzwing in his jet mode. And I think it is a very good looking jet mode. I mean, he never had the most graceful jet mode to begin with. It almost depended on how the animators felt that day, you know? But you've got your thrusters at the back, got all your different wing pieces. The tank, it feels, it folds up pretty well. Honestly, it's not that bad. Certainly a lot better than the leader class Legacy Evolution version of this character. That thing was terrible. I didn't even want to fight with it. That's why I didn't bother using it for the comparison. So, but he does have all of the silk gray up here is painted. Got some good detail on the fuselage. He does have rolly wheels, and he rolls pretty well. He doesn't look like he has any clearance, but he does, just a little. He's got a little bit of yellow paint here. And then these shoulder pieces, this strip of paint, purple is paint. But other than that, all the same that you saw in robot mode. Some transparent cockpit with a little bit of purple detailing. There's the front, the side, the back, the bottom, the top. So there you go. And like I said, unfortunately, no storage anywhere. I guess in the jet mode specifically, he's got some gaps up here. If you really wanted to, you could just kind of wedge these things in here. It looks goofy, but you know, if you really wanted to, you could. The tabs, just because of where they're located, you can't tab it in anywhere. I have tried every single tab point that I could. Nothing fits. It's the wrong size, or it's something like just the detail of the gun or the hilt prevents it from tabbing in. So, is what it is. And let's do a couple comparisons, and we'll just do Astro Train and Megatron here. Here is Fans Toys, Astro Train. Very nice together. I gotta say, let's see. Right about, he is just a hair longer than Astro Train, but it's only because of the length of his thrusters. He has a longer wingspan, and lengthwise, height-wise, yeah, Astro Train, just barely. But you can see how the two Decepticon triple changers look, and they look immaculate. And of course, this is one of my absolute favorites in my entire collection, not only because the appearance, but just they did it so well. So well, so well. And one more, because I did Megatron earlier, here is Megatron in his alt mode from the MP13 Soundwave knockoff, because, you know, most of my Takaras are knockoffs. Because I can't afford secondhand prices on the real ones. So, anyway, that is his jet mode. And now we'll go ahead and get into his tank mode. Now, with the tank mode, this is not a difficult transformation, but there is one thing: putting his head and all the jet parts into this little cavity, a lot of people have trouble with. Emgo did it one way. I heard when I did a review on this guy, like just a regular text review on Shozy Store, someone said they remove the head, they pop it off the ball joint to fit it in there. To me, that's a little excessive. So I'm going to show you what I do, which is definitely not official, because the instructions, the video instructions for this guy are absolutely terrible. Plus they're backwards. They start in tank mode. That doesn't help you. So let's get the tank out of the way. The turret. We'll fold in the landing gear. Okay. So we'll go ahead and start with the back. First thing, we're going to pop these out on their sliders. Just fold them up for now. Fold these up and disconnect those. Remember, for these, you want to pull up and out because you have two different opposing tabs. So we just want to get stuff out of our way for right now. All right. We're going to come over here, and you're going to pop this missile open. Fold it 180 degrees so that the double joint is sitting flat. And then this, you just pop it out. It's got a little tab. And the way that the back of the missile is, it's got that notch that kind of fits in there. Kind of does, but not really. And I'm going to set this off to the side for now. But I'm going to do both sides just so I don't forget. And I haven't tried it yet, but I believe if you don't do this with the missiles, you'll just have some collision and things won't want to sit completely right when you're ready to close up the treads for tank mode. So that's why we're doing it. I'm going to flip these two things up. Since these are spring-loaded, you don't need to particularly worry about getting them out of the way. And I'm going to bring the tread down. So remember, we've got that thick gray tab in there that was you had to do at an angle. So that's what we want to disconnect. And then just stretch all that out. Right. So do that. Get things out of your way. We'll go ahead and get these, rotate them up, because we're going to be doing a lot of bending and whatnot down here, and I don't want to get those damaged. Disconnect the wing from the side, disconnect those from the side of the leg. Out of the way. Out of the way. Don't worry about this too much. Those tabs are very thin. They're basically a thoop more than anything, so it'll be fine. So same thing. I want to get the legs done first. I'm going to rotate. Here we go. Trying to do this, in front of the camera instead of on my lap. It's much more difficult. So we're going to spread the legs apart. We're just going to take these and rotate them in. The thruster may fall apart on you, and that's fine. Just get it back together. Rotate it in at an angle, and then finish folding the thruster in, just because of clearance. And you can go either direction. It rotates 360 degrees, but you definitely need it at the top in order to fit it in here. So just in case there's any question of why am I doing it a certain way. So there's that. You'll fold these up, and you can see a tab, and they have a slot. Oops. Slot there with a tab there. They will click into place and hold. And then you've got the diaper here. Rotate so the diaper is, again, facing the front of the legs. Don't you worry, we're going to be rotating everything else again. So these tan pieces will be the top of the tank, which actually we can do that right now. We're going to close them up just like they were for robot mode. Right? Just like that. Slide this panel down so it engages. And because the legs are compressed, it is not in that upper tab is not engaging with anything. So just one less thing to worry about. So there you go. That's the back middle of the tank ready to go. All right. Now, a lot of things to do here. And how do I want to do it? All right. We're going to get the upper section taken care of next. So bring it all down. Fold these two pieces in. Rotate the head. And here's what I do. I rotate it all the way back on that joint. And there's still going to be multiple movements done at once, but I found I like the way that works. So you split this, bring it down. Bring the landing gear down, rotate and fold in the nose cone pieces. Of course, you got to do it sideways. Okay. Bring the canopy in, and I haven't found if it really matters for the tank part which way this faces. So is what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it out this time. So one way that I was doing it, the same way MGO did, was I'd fold in this little piece. I'd fold this whole thing, fold it in like that, and then I'd end up collapsing it like that. Doing it the way I'm about to do it, it doesn't matter. And since it's the bottom of the tank anyway, I have found that this is the best way to do it. There will still be clearance for it to roll. So now is what we're going to do, is we're going to fold all this up at once. So you'll bring this down a little bit like that, okay? And then you'll do this. The head right now is clearing everything. But when you get to a certain point, that back of the head is going to hit, and it's going to start bringing itself up. And that is why I like doing it this way. Look at that. Closed it up super easy. The head is currently sitting straight up, and you've got everything on the side. Done. That's it. Now, if you want this in there, then yeah, it may not work. You're going to have to put the head sideways because it's locked in right now. This makes it too thick and it won't close up. But doing it this way, it will close up fine, and you'll see when we get to the end how it's going to look. Like I said, that is a personal choice. Personally, I like it that way. Now, just for the sake of transformation, I'm going to tab these in on the chest and get them out of my way. Because like I said, doing this on my lap, I don't have any issue with those, but doing it this way in front of a camera, 2 feet away, I'm really stressing about how these pieces are. It's only because I'm doing it in front of a camera. Like I said, in my lap, I never stress them anymore, now that I know how to move them. Okay, so we had to rotate the chest. The tan is on the top. Now, bring this back down. We're going to rotate the arm again to the other side, the same side it was on for robot mode. And then again, once it's on the other side, get it 90 degrees, and we'll do the actual bicep rotation here in a minute. But let's just get it all on the right side. There we go. Okay. We'll go ahead and rotate these that way. Now, what's going to happen, these purple pieces are going to sit flat and flush, just like they did for jet mode, but you need to rotate on this axis. You're going to just keep on rotating. Now, I'm not going to be able to go much further because these are currently in the wrong location, but I can at least get it close enough to where those will be like the third to last thing that I do before I'm able to lock in a bunch of other stuff. So you'll bring these pieces back. If they didn't already rotate on their own, rotate them so the tan is facing itself. Bring this around and face it in. You want it swept toward the front. There is a slot right there for a tab that's on the treads. So you want it like that. Push it up so it locks in on this tab and slot. Do the same for both sides, and you won't be able to lock them in just yet because, again, nothing else is fully lined up. Now we come over here. This is where the missile will plug in. Right, this is the side with the landing gear and the spring-loaded piece. Go ahead and leave this tab up. Rotate this around. Do the same on the other side. There we go. Rotate. Now I'm going to flip it back over. Now currently we have the arms. We have not rotated the arms. So now here's what I'm going to do. Because now these chest pieces are in my way. We're going to rotate them down. And there is a small peg that's going to go into a hole in this. And it is not sure if I'm really going to be able to show you that hole very well. I'm going to try. It's this little cutout. The hole here is for robot mode. This cutout is for tank mode. So good, I was able to show you. Just bring it up and then push it in. So you have a slot here for this big tab. And that is what we're locking into place here. Okay, why is this one fighting me? What am I missing here? Oh, okay, I see. There's also this slot for this upper tab. Got it on the other one. Wanted to fight me on this one. There we go. I think that's it. Kind of, sort of. There it is. Okay. So you can see the chest pieces are just sitting in there, but they're locked in by these upper pieces, which were higher for the robot mode. But anyway, that's it. That's where those are going to sit. You can just leave these up here for now. We'll come back to them. Now we can get the tank treads locked in more securely. So you have two tabs here with slots in front of them. Get those squared away. Good. Keep these pieces out of the way just for now. So you've got the big gray peg that's going to go into that slot, and you'll have to work this joint a little bit differently. So what we're going to do is we're going to fold it in like this, rotate it, slide it up on that slider so it's sticking out like that, and then you'll rotate it again. So you got a couple things. You got this slot or tab that's going to fit into this slot. Then you've got that giant gray tab that goes in. Rotate it on me. There you go. It goes in there. And then this is how that joint should be looking. You fold that panel down. You fold this down, and you've got a peg for this hole. And it's on a slider, so you can move it as you need to, but the slider does lock it from coming down as far as it needs to. So there you go. That side is done, and then the tab is right here for the slot that goes into that wing piece. So we're going to do it all over again on this side. You can move this up just a little bit just to clear, but then you have to bring it right back down because these arms do have to be straight. There we go. And then again, bring this, make sure to do the rotation to tab that peg in, bring that down, make sure that is nice and secured. We are almost there. Next up, tank. Just pull it apart, or the turret, sorry. Want to rotate, bring it out, then rotate it more, then finish bringing it out. Right. There you go. You also want to rotate that around. Then you're going to collapse the tank, and you've got the two pegs and ports, and then you've got tabs and slots. So there you go. Bring it in. You've got this armature has these small tabs that just go inside of here. So you just, you know what, before I do that even, we've got the same thing here with tabs and slots in here. So let's do that one first. It might be kind of both at the same time, but I'm going to try and do that one first. And you could have done this as we were closing up the tank treads, but there it is. It's done. It's not that difficult to just do it at this point. And then collapse the turret down more. And now we're back to here. So like I said, you can have this out or you can have it folded. That's what it would look like on the bottom. So it's actually pretty clean and smooth, and it does not interfere. You cannot see it. Extend the cannon. And that is it. Blitzwing in his tank mode. And then, of course, here is Astro Train in his train mode. And again, they look very, very nice together. So there you go. Our Decepticon triple changers with their leader. Good old Megs. There's the squad. There's the trio. So, there you have Star Toys Blitzwing. And yeah, honestly, I would have to give this guy, this new version that I have with the better tan saturated colors, I'd have to give him probably a 8 out of 10, right? The transformation is not bad. You got a little bit of collision here and there. Nothing terrible. It's nothing like Alien Attack, Macron, their Dark of the Moon Megatron, or even their King of Cavaliers Optimus Prime, which still isn't that bad. I think they redeemed themselves with that one. But anyway, the collision isn't that bad, but it's also not the easiest. He looks great. His sculpt is amazing. The only thing he's missing that is in the cartoon and that it looks like Fans Toys is going to give us with their version is tiny little like triangle pieces over the shoulders in robot mode. Then for the tank mode, yeah, he doesn't have that little canopy that sticks out a little bit. That was at least in the movie. In the show, I don't recall how often that was there. But then again, I saw an episode in season 2 today where Starscream's forearms from his elbow down were as thick as his legs. So I'm not terribly concerned about animation accuracy when it comes to that, right? All 3 modes look amazing. Absolutely fantastic. I personally don't like the stylized look of DX9 Jewalt. I love that they went too inaccurate with this. Based on the pictures, he's going to have some competition with Fans Toys, but personally, I think the only thing Fans Toys is going to have over this guy is the paint, just the amount of it, because this is good quality paint, but the amount of paint, because Fans Toys is going to be fully painted. This guy is not. And other than that, like, he might have weapon storage. He's got some minor changes to the 3 sculpts, so depending on if you like these 3 modes, that may be a plus or minus to you. And then, of course, this guy is so much cheaper. It was $120 shipped from Show Z Store, with the free shipping anyway. So, really, there's not much I can knock this guy for. His sculpt is really, really close. He could use more paint, but the paint that is there is at least good quality. And I mean, I like the transformation. This is one of the guys I constantly flip back and forth, like my DX9 Stunticons. I cannot stop transforming them back and forth. They're just so much fun. So, overall, I would recommend this guy, even now with Fan Toys version coming out next year or later this year, especially if money is a thing for you. Because this guy is easily half the cost of the Fans Toys version. But I am looking forward to seeing other reviewers doing a comparison between him and the Fans Toys version. But I'm sure most of them probably have the first run of this with the very pale tan. It was almost gray. It looked terrible, to be honest. But either way, there is that. And there you go. Thank you for watching. And until next time.